Hey, and welcome to Special Teams for Life. I'm Coach Marsh, and I'm here with Nick LaBow. Nick, how are you, man?
Oh, I couldn't be better. Well, except
Yeah,
for the fact that the Seahawks lost, but
yeah, I
it's
know.
not
Every
it's
week you come on, you say, I couldn't be better. Things are great. And then I remind you that
right.
kind of, man, it's not
Yeah,
as great. But
just
I
as
love that you
you're
got the spirit and the attitude.
forgetting. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Quick opening thoughts. What are you outside of the lines or inside the lines of football? Anything capture your eye or anything worthwhile?
Well, I really gotta say it felt like this week there were a lot of knuckleheads or fans just running onto the field. We had one in our game. I know there was one in the early game in Jacksonville. I think there might have been one more. So yeah, definitely that. But in the football aspect, I was kind of surprised. I thought we played a lot better than I kind of thought we were. In Trey Brown, man, finally we have a
Yeah.
cornerback who can tackle.
No doubt about it. We're definitely going to hit on a lot of that stuff tonight. So we're glad anybody who's joined us live. I see we got a few different people there, and we'll get to comments and questions. But speaking of the kind of ironic that you mentioned that, I always like to go back into the PrehistorHAWK era to start our show off. But I thought it might be fun actually to kind of look at some of those knuckleheads because they caught my eye too. I know we had texted back and forth a little bit back when it happened in the game in London when that first
Right.
happened, and then it happens in the Seahawks game. So before I even go into the intro video, man, I'm right off the bat. We're just going to go right to this. I just think it's crazy. So I'm going to share this up. So this was back. If you haven't seen this, this happened in the London game.
Yeah.
We had Jacksonville and Miami. I don't think many people were probably watching, let alone the time it was being played or what have you. But I mean, here they go, and boom! When I first saw it, go ahead.
He's trying to go out and get the kickoff.
Yeah, I thought it was like sometimes you see those superimposed things that'll take place where, someone will,
Yeah.
all of a sudden they'll come out there and it's like a kind of an overlay, like somebody's put a Photoshop type of deal or After Effects on it. So here you got this guy's getting ready to kick, and then boom, like a commercial. I thought he was just going to grab the ball and do something funny and weird. So I just thought that was crazy. And then all of a sudden, and here's some crazy footage.
And then he's over there talking with the refs.
So Nick, and we talked about this a little bit, right?
Man.
Where all of a sudden a guy comes on and he's the difference between London and a guy gets busted there and somewhere else. So watch how this plays out here, man. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Right. So this is in London, and I know it's grainy because I really tried to zoom it in so you can be able to see. But here's the guy out there. Now look, he's just saying, hey, I want to just he's got his English accent going. And instead of guys bum rushing him or the police nail him, he's getting hugs, gets another 5.
Oh, yeah.
Guys are 55, I think, comes in and says, hey, man, you're a little loony. This guy right here, like, hey, you're a little cuckoo. But look at the guys come out, they take him off. Now, look, I know this show is, meant to be serious at times, but I just think this is part of like culture. So here you got a crazy guy and they just take him off. And I bet people were cheering him like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Absolutely cheering him like crazy. Okay, so now we go to go to the Seahawks fund, and it's actually be better for me. Let me share my screen real quick. It's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna do a little different way of sharing.
Okay.
Let me try. I'm gonna do it this way. I think you'll be able to see it better. I'm fine if they see the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
All right, and we are on the share. Boom. There we go. This will work. All right. So now, and let me go take this to full screen. There we go. So then all of a sudden in the game here in Seattle or with Pittsburgh, here comes the dude doing his thing, right? Hey, DK goes in motion. Now I thought when I first saw it, I thought DK was getting ready to clock him.
That would have been
DK,
that would have been something.
I'm going to bust this guy, and I thought this guy was going to get lit.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was just going to get lit.
That would have definitely been something to watch.
Yeah. Now, I mean, this in our culture, in our, United States, dudes get nervous about this stuff. Things get crazy. And Pete's probably like, hey, maybe the guy looks like maybe he's a good running back. So I think about hiring him. So Nick, what it made me think about is some of the all-time greatest things that I've seen. Now, there's some awesome audible audio of Kevin Harlan, the announcer.
Right.
He's one of the best radio announcer out there, but he does TV games also. He's great on TV games. He's the one guy that when this stuff happens, usually the TV quickly pans away.
Right.
They don't want to give these guys attention. He's got some of the best calls ever of these guys doing it.
Oh, for
So I
sure.
went and found some just for you. Just to kind of get our show off on a kind of a fun note, because I think we're all kind of down in the doldrums because of what's going on with the Seahawks. So I was like, I don't want to come on and just have a rip fest. So
Totally.
I'll let you do a little, since this probably might be the first time you've seen some of these.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's cue her up here. So here's the end, which most people probably didn't see, of the one that took place over in Pittsburgh. You can barely see kind of the tail end of it here. What happens to the guy?
He goes right down.
Yeah,
That's the difference about in London. In London, the guy was like high-fiving the teammates. He was up. Once in America, they sense the guy running behind him, they're right down.
Yeah, well, and we used to call that sniper. At this day and age, you got to be careful about guns and blah blah blah. But back in the day, if we saw something like this, like, oh, sniper, like who sniped him from up above? I mean, he's doing fine. Then boom, he's down. I'm down. So fast forward. Well, I mean, look at the crawl.
Yeah, it's like flopping around.
Ability. What is this here? Athletic ability. Boom. Again, having just a little bit of comedy time here to start the show, and he's still getting. I don't know if he got cheered or booed with Pittsburgh. So now here's one of the famous ones. Okay, this guy, San Francisco Rams. Now, you tell me it's more about the tackle, like what takes place on the side. Remember what happened in London. So Nick, here you go. Call the game for us right here. Right?
All right, there he goes down the 40, and right down.
Right down.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'd say that was a good hawk tackle. They actually call it the hawk tackle they brought in years ago, right? It used to be strike the eyes, football with your eyes, man. That guy goes right to the thighs, eyes to the thighs.
Got his teammate coming around the side.
Yeah. Good force principle. He had force. This guy came in good. He filled, had good leverage.
They weren't giving up positive yards.
Hey, and the low man wins, right? So, all right, nice play there. But now, this is the greatest one of all time.
Yeah.
Greatest one of all time.
Especially because the story behind it.
Yeah, man, I might have to do a telestration on one of these days for just this stuff. This is classic, man. There's one that Kevin Harlan called also. So there he's doing like the commercial. He's wearing whatever he's wearing. But these dudes.
Boom, the juke.
Oh, the juke.
He's still on his feet. Wow, he looks like Marsh on Lynch, and then he's going for the but he's down at the one.
That is so man. And I remember I saw that. I can't remember laughing so hard at a video of a football game. But again, there they are in London. Guys waving to people and getting high fives and shaking. This dude, watch the guy that comes in from the sideline. I mean, here's this, the defensive tackle here. He's doing the best he can, right? I mean, he's not supposed to chase it downfield. His job was to just maintain the quarterback. All right, so it gets through. The middle linebacker totally misses him.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if you remember a guy by the name of Ronnie Lott.
Okay? I do.
Or here comes free safety. Boom, here he comes.
Bam.
Out of nowhere. Game-saving tackle at the 1 yard.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was just a beauty. So I went to the all-22. I went to the all-22, Nick. Where you can find from all angles. So I got a different angle of it. This is great, man.
Oh, wow. Look at it. He should be a running back.
Could be, but I got to give the defensive lineman credit here. He took kind of a poor angle on the curve, but if he doesn't slow him down on the spin right there, if he doesn't right there, just enough to slow him down, he scores, right? These guys,
sure.
I mean, this corner's not going to get to him.
No.
I think he got cut the following week.
Probably.
Absolutely poor angle to get there. But that guy, man, what a game.
Bam. That guy's getting a promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. And
he's getting his long-term extension.
These guys are going to get what we call, we used to call them JOPs, JOPs, as in jump on piles. So you don't get a credit for a tackle when you get a JOP, a jump on pile. Just like practice guys that intercept passes on the second rep of the same play. We say for your PhD, your practice heroes degree. But yeah, man, I thought those were definitely some of the better ones of all time. Now this one will kind of lead us back to the prehistoric era. This is a long time ago. Jets and Colts. I bet you have not seen this one. Now I'm not showing dudes.
I don't think I have.
Got their shirt on, whatever. Again, it's more about the plays that are made by the secondary of these security guys. Like, this is the best tackling I've seen in a long time. The Seahawks should watch film on that last guy and these guys. Now, this is in New York, so those fans are going to be rabidly amped about this. So I'll let it play at full speed. boom,
Bam.
rushed, and then watch his buddy. Here it comes, and boom.
Ooh.
Both guys get it taken from him one last time. Just watch this first guy. I mean, he just gets clocked.
Wow.
Absolutely clocked. Look at this. Doesn't
second guy too. I mean,
just drill. I mean, look at everything is off the ground, drilled. And then you're right. Here he goes.
Yep.
His buddy.
The other guy gets the lateral.
Yeah, and I haven't zoomed in. It's really hard. I had to really zoom in so you'd see it. Otherwise, it's really hard to see. But this guy, I just remember what happened. I mean, oh man.
This reminds me.
He showed this stuff. Go ahead, Dick.
Oh yeah. So that guy in the yellow coming through kind of reminds me of Cam Chancellor's hit on.
Oh, good call.
The 49ers tight end, kind of right in the goal line.
Vernon Davis right here. Yeah, this is Vernon Davis.
Yeah, that's Vernon Davis.
But he's
just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's looking at the ball, and here comes Cam Chancellor. Oh, wait, you know what I never noticed? This is the beauty of film. I didn't notice the reason he turned. Someone forced him back inside right here off the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
Man, great form running. Look at the high knees. Arms are driving, but you're right here. Cam Chancellor. Boom.
Boom.
Oh man. That's the way you start a show, buddy. That is the way you start a show. So with that, man, let's get rocking. All right. Well, welcome again to Special Teams for Life with Nick LaBow, and I'm Coach Marsh. We just went through kind of the pregame portion of it, and now we're heading into the first quarter of the show, which is going to be, that's where we really do go into the prehistoric era, which is 1976 to 1999. We look at some of the special teams plays, not just from the Seattle Seahawks, but we've opened it up to college, high school, pros, all the stuff we can find. I mean, Nick and I we've created a vault, literally a vault list of special team stuff. Man, I hope we have enough shows in the year to cover all the special teams things we have been able to find. So I'm going to quickly go through the prehistoric stuff because we've got a lot of other things to talk about. But so let me just jump into that real quick. And here we go. First thing is going to be back in the old days of John Elway when he played for the man, I'm trying to get my little pop player. There we go. Getting it set. All right. So there's John Elway right here. Now, back then, the score there's the score 19-17. California's ahead. And I think they play for the Axe. I think that's the name of the trophy they play for. Now, first off, before we even get to the play that's going to be, watch how many steps John Elway takes on this drop back.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
He goes all the way to the goal line.
It's a 9-step drop in 1982.
Wow.
So when people look at, the greatest play of all time and they go back to 2004 or the greatest quarterbacks of all, hey, these dudes back then, when they knew guys were rushing, there's a reason he had to go back. And you're right. I mean, he went all the way back to the goal line, balls at the 13, 12-yard line. So here you go. 9-step drop. I mean, looks backwards. First play, steps up, and
look at the projection.
I mean, just drills that ball. I mean, look at the throw on that thing. So he drills it right there. Now, again, they have a long ways to go, but there's a reason why he's the best quarterback ever. So he goes back, not best ever, but definitely one of the top ones ever.
For sure.
So there, gets to the sideline. Now here he comes, gets the toss pitch. I mean, they look a little bit like the Seahawks defense right now. I mean, they're just
right
defense, right? So now you got 19 seconds left. Clock's running. They're trying to get down there. Now remember, they're behind. They just got to get into field goal range. So now he's getting it to the right hash because obviously their kicker wants to get it there, which we have talked about at times, right? Where we saw it in the game the other night.
One thing I'm going to point out about just how much the league has kind of changed so much. When have you seen, like, recently in a 2-minute drill when you're like on your own 30 or 40, a running play?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all pass now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Good. That's a good call. Really good call. So here it is. They're down by 2 points. Not too much time left on the clock. I mean, that is quite a field goal. I mean, you can tell the distance right there, right? I mean, he's kicking it from the 25. So that's 35-yarder. Look at Cal Stanford, how packed it is.
Oh,
Pac-10 football was Pac-8 football. Pac-10 football was awesome back then. So there it is. Basically the game winner.
Bam.
And this kind of started what I would say is the epitome of what has become greatest play of all time, miracle, the miracle this, all these type of things. This is really the first play people can really go back to of the modern era, right? There's definitely some, the Hail Mary that was thrown by the Dallas Cowboys in the 70s and some others. But this right here is where it's at. So here's where we have it. I would run this every single week in where I coached everywhere. So I'll talk about that in a second. So here it is. It's just simply called the play. They squib kick it with 2 seconds to go, and this guy has the ball. I won't stop it again. It's hard to see. He has the ball. Most people have seen this before. There's a lateral pitch number 1, pitch number 2.
Boom.
He just throws it backwards. Pitch number 3. Some people argue maybe his knee was down there. Watch this. Pitch 4. This is the greatest pitch of all time. Never looks back. Just throws it over his shoulder, knows somebody's there.
Oh my gosh, there's the band.
What coverage is this? Is this cover 84? Like 84 dudes out there, dudes and dudettes. And then crushed. Boom. The famous trombone player who gets nailed in the Sports
And he's
Illustrated
in.
newspaper that came, or magazine that came out the following week, had the picture of the guy who scored just pouncing on the guy that had the trombone. But what's crazy about this, I'll just watch it one more time here, is they obviously knew the situation. And it just drives me nuts that teams don't run this very well. We see it all the time. And I mean, Nick, we see it all the time, right? Where you could, there's 2 things that have to happen. You cannot go out of bounds. You cannot get tackled with the football. Right. So make sure you pitch it backwards and you're just playing rugby and tossing it around. So that first pitch, perfect. I mean, just throws it backwards to get everybody on that side of the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All of them. You got everybody over there. So that's the reason why they did that on the very first play. Throw it over there, get it to the sideline, and then everybody start retreating. So there's number 1. And watch how all these guys get back. And he pitches it here. He's got it, right? And then now this one. But again, this to me is the greatest of all time. The way he just flips it over his shoulder.
Yeah. And I mean, you really have to have a lack of awareness to not realize what's going on if you're in the band's position.
Well, yeah, and because they're already down in the end zone.
Yeah,
Really
exactly.
on the field. Now, what's crazy cool about this is that most people, you'll never hear about this, Nick. So I think you'll see this in the future. This will be something that you're going to be able to just be awesome with people on. The guy who, like the little things, the guy who threw the football, who started this off, is the guy who scores the touchdown. Like, talk about the
wait. Oh, wow.
Right.
That's
You will never, ever hear people talk about that on shows. I've never heard anybody talk about it. But the guy who starts with it right here, number 26, he throws the pass, and then he's going to get the ball. So there's going, it's going. The pitches are going. There's the pitch. There's going back. There's going back.
And there he is.
There he is right there. Same guy. Gets the touchdown.
Right through the band. Do you know what?
Boom.
I think Seattle should do something like this. Not in the kickoff sense, but in the band sense. Like if we just had a bunch of fans who, when we saw like Rams running back or whatever late in the game, they'll just storm the field. Right.
Yeah, let's get the Hawks nest, right? There's some.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There to be, but especially in the 3rd and 4th quarter when they're feeling really good, that's when they like to do that. Yeah, some guys down there, no doubt about it. But what I was saying is that I did that every single week when I coached, and I would call it once in a lifetimes because you never knew if that was going to happen. So we would practice the old Dan Marino fake spike, throw it. We just called it Hands Team California. So when we said Hands Team California, we knew that the specific 11 went out there, and we would rep trying to go down and make sure you throw it backwards. And hey, if the other team recovers it, so no big deal, because you never know where you're going to do it. Now, in 27 years of coaching, it happened one time that we did it. We didn't score, but we returned it about 50 yards. The fake spike, practiced that every week for 27 years. And in 2008, state playoff game, we're down 12-7. We get a great kickoff return. And then I ran the ball on first down with about 20 seconds to go from the 20-yard line. And our fans are going crazy. Like, they want me fired. Like, you're an idiot. But they had no idea that the next play I was sending a kid in with the fake spike call. And the kid had a broken arm with a cast on. But he's the only guy that had repped it every single week. And so our quarterback fake spikes it. Their corner just kind of stands there. Our guy with the club hand goes, catches the ball, and we win 13-12 to go on the final play of the game.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
and my whole point is, like, don't you wish that the Seahawks would do more of these type of things? Try
I
something. Now,
wish just
not that crazy stuff, but go ahead.
right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Seahawks in general, but just the NFL in general. I mean, when was the last time we've seen like a fake spike or even like a at the end of half or whatever, like a fake kneel down? You know how some teams at the end to run at you out the clock. What if they just fake the kneel, don't actually take a full kneel, get up and just chuck it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've seen a fake spike like in the last 4 or 5 years,
No
if
doubt
even
about
that.
it. Yeah, and it's definitely something you just don't see very often. And
Yeah.
I do wish that they would do it more because I think they have the opportunity to do it. And again, I think people get frustrated with Pete. They think, well, he's just basic and everything else. And I think you said it right. It's the NFL. I think you got some up
Mhm.
and coming coaches that have become a little more drastic in their approach in terms of maybe offensively, but special teams is still blah. And where I think we really need to see it, Nick, is not just like you said, not just on special teams, but it is the faking of the knee. It is throwing those fake spikes, the other stuff, because now missed PATs are becoming a factor. Missed field goals are becoming a factor. So it's less about leaving points on the scoreboard or leaving points on the field, as they used to say, like, hey, we left points out there, as opposed to, no, we're losing points. We're missing extra points now. We're missing field goals. So we have to creatively find ways to come up with
Yeah.
it. That it doesn't take you away from being if you want to run the ball and play defense to win championships, hey, I'm all for that. Trust me, I'm all for that. But then we ought to do things like we did to get back in the Green Bay game,
Right.
fake field goal or fake spike, do
Mhm.
those other things, right?
Yeah.
So it's without a doubt. And I think one of the things that also impacts what they do now is it's such a copycat league, right? And it's been that way for a long time. Things will evolve, and then the defense
Yeah.
catches up. Things will evolve, defense catches up,
Totally.
and now we're kind of in this spread, and sort of if I had as they say, if I had a nickel for every time a parent came in to me with a play from from Madden or play Tecmo Bowl and all those other things, it's like it doesn't work that way. But what
Right.
you don't see is, again, that creative juices. You see it at the high school level
Definitely.
to some degree. I mean,
Mhm.
I live for the running the fakes and fake punts and halfback passes. And I mean, when was the last halfback pass you saw in the NFL? Right.
Shoot.
I remember the last time we saw a reverse throwback to a
Yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. That was Baldwin to Wilson.
Right.
I remember that one, and I think there might have been one other one when they played at Atlanta. But other than that, you just don't see it. You don't see it. And we're missing the days of the Pat McAfees,
Oh,
some of those
yeah.
other guys that we're going to show people as we go through this, but there are some characters, right? Well, now guys don't want to get hurt. They're protecting their images, other things. I was talking to a buddy today. I think the number one reason why people are starting to not necessarily go down on Russ a little bit in terms of being frustrated, but they're like, hey, is he the same guy?
Mhm.
Well, it's because our offense has really trimmed back what he does in terms of when he was a big threat. It was when he was truly running the read option. Remember
Yeah.
when he would actually run the read option with Marshawn and keep it? And
Yeah, I don't remember, like, we always run that fake read where we end up handing it to the back or the play action,
yeah,
but
and they
I
know
don't
Russ is
remember
not going to
seeing
keep it.
Russ take it at all.
Yeah. So when I think that is the absolute number one thing that has impacted the Seahawks offense over the last 5 years. As
Mhm.
soon as we stopped using Russ as a playmaker and
Right.
turned him into a play caller who has to make plays, that's totally different. A play caller that has to make plays is someone who's scrambling for their lives.
Yeah.
Playmaker is a guy who's, hey, he's keeping the ball because he's read option, he's keeping it, everything else. He
And to
doesn't do
add
that
on to
anymore.
that, kinda in the
Yeah.
Russ degree, Russ is a scrambler, he's mobile, but he doesn't cross the line and actually truly scramble and pick up yards. He's kind of it's
He's
been a
scrambling to
downward
throw.
trend for him, the last few years where we've seen less of him getting kinda past the line of scrimmage, gaining positive yards. So, yeah, I mean, he likes to do this circus show behind the line of scrimmage and then throw a bomb out of bounds.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's, and I'm not going to say what the reason is. I think when you have changes, obviously there's been changes of offensive coordinators, but man, oh man, I wish they would. Cause I know as an offensive coordinator for me, I lived for the quarterback that could run and scramble because I ran a lot of sprint outs and bootlegs. I wanted to have that pressure on the defense. And I know we're here to talk special teams. We got some special teams things to talk about, but I think when we're talking about the Seahawks, what we really want to see them do, I don't think it's a really, big scientific thing people have to look and study. Other than the fact that that's what I do all day. I do like watching film and I like breaking things down. But if I looked at it globally over the last few years, again, that is what I would mark as the two biggest things. One, having Russ be a threat of the run. I think that hurt us. And two, when we had Bevel, we did run I wouldn't say a whole bunch of tricks, but if you have an offensive coordinator that's willing to do it, tries to do it, and it works a little bit, then your coach starts being willing to do it in the special teams game.
Yeah.
Right. They're willing to try those fakes, try those other things, and right now, the only time we seem to run fakes is when it's, we're up by 28 or we're down by something like it's when you're down 16-0 in the NFC Championship. And no one expects you to do it. Right. That's when it's just gold. Yeah. That's when it's golden.
For sure.
All right. Let's get to the next little segment here. Now we always go from PrehistorHAWK era to the Holmgren era, as we call it, which is, the years 1999 or 2000, moving forward a little bit to 2010, basically when Pete Carroll arrived, even though we know there's more in there and there's other coaches, but we got PrehistorHAWK era, the Holmgren era, and then the kind of the Pete Carroll pre-2021 era. So to go to that, we will get to I just got to find a little change spot. There we go. And let me switch it over there. So Nick, take it away. Our buddy Leon Washington, who's kind of quasi Holmgren, and this is 2010, so it's right on the border of
Holmgren, Carroll, that era. Yeah, so Leon Washington, man, probably the best returner we've had in recent history. Right there, number 33. He's listed as a running back, but we mainly only kind of really used him as a kick returner, which you don't really see in the NFL.
Yeah.
No anymore. A lot of kick returning's kind of a side gig for most teams, but here in this kind of era, we were actually giving up a roster spot for the kick returner. He actually had 2 kick returns in this game, which is something you don't see very often whatsoever. So let's get into the play.
Let's check them out right here. Right here. This is the ones, and when we get to the Holmgren stuff, I pull out the PrehistorHAWK stuff. Nick likes to find the Holmgren Carroll stuff to bring to the program. And I thought this was just great to bring. So here it is. Yeah. This is San Diego versus Seattle in Seattle, 2010. And you nailed it, right? Leon Washington, arguably one of the greatest return guys of all time. So this is the first of the game. So with the end zone view, I mean, just high flying, high knees, running by dudes.
Elusive.
And it's kind of interesting how guys can be really, really good at special teams in terms of running and finding those holes and making things happen.
Right.
But you can't find take it back to that guy. But you can't get them to do something in the running game so much, right? Like they're good, but they're not good enough. But they can really find the right lanes with a little extra space. I know I see Cameron Hughes is on the call. I know he's doing kickoff return where he plays. You start, if you can get the right guys in the right spots and you can find the right blocking angles.
Right.
This is great, right? He's got this huge lane, but he knew how to do it. And there's something when you've got a guy that can make these type of plays, dudes will block harder. They will make the right angles. They'll hustle. I mean, look at the second effort by 34 there.
For sure. And DJ Dallas, who's our current kick returner, he's shown some signs. He's getting out there. He's finding those holes. He's making some plays in the kick return aspect. He hasn't taken one back yet, but he's been consistently getting to past the 25, kind of in the 30 range, which is great to have.
Yeah. Here you go. Little fact before we do the second kickoff return of the same game. As Cameron says, we traded for Leon Washington from the Jets as soon as Pete got here. See, it's funny. What did Pete learn from his time when he was with the Jets and then he leaves and goes to USC where he kicks butt and then he comes back here? All of a sudden you learn as you get older. So it just drives me nuts when people want to say, well, back in the Jets, he was awful. Well, a lot of us were awful in our early years at a lot of stuff. And you grow and you get better, right? So he picks the right guy. And man, I love it that Belichick, some of the other guys in that early 2010, 2000 through 2015, they were trying to get snappers that were great, kick returners that were great,
For
punt
sure.
returners that were great. I mean, I think we had a pretty good kickoff returner that joined us for a short period of time that scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl to start the second half, right?
Yeah.
So Cameron, you're absolutely right. And they've changed these rules up so much on kickoff. It's just crazy. I mean, I get the safety factor of it, but now you just don't see many returns. But I miss the days where you got these specialty guys. So that's a great comment there. In fact, I think I told you Percy Harvin, his jersey or a jersey that's signed is in my brother's his house. They got right after the Super Bowl, and then unfortunately we had to get rid of him. So same game, Nick. What happens here, man?
All right. So here we got two guys here. They're actually kind of going at a wedge block, but they totally missed the two guys flying by. He kind of flies by, breaks a tackle. Look at the kicker there, like flat on his back. Definitely not a McAfee moment. 88 tries to get him.
Not boom, a McAfee moment is right. And I mean, special teams is awesome because it's basically it's a way to look at offense. I mean, I've said it many times.
Yeah.
All of your special teams, you must look at them in terms of offense and defense. So kickoff return is an offensive special team. So you're trying to create some sort of an offensive scheme, a concept. Like, how are you going to block it? You know, those guys come down. Who are their best guys from L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, and R1, R2, R3, R4, R5? And like you said, so he's got these two guys. Their job is to take the most dangerous man. Well, they didn't touch either guy, but then eventually
you got these guys flying back to catch him. Washington's elusive. He slides by him. Look at that move, kind of just angling his body.
So things weren't in 720 and 1080. Yeah, I mean, just like you said, the elusiveness. I mean, the legs. Look at that left leg.
Yeah, he's like getting carried through the air. Boom. Uses his offensive blocker for support.
Yeah,
29's here. He's like
actually cut him up, Nick.
Yeah,
I think he did. I think let's watch it regular speed.
And yeah, let's look at this hole he kind of gets through.
Right, he cut him up.
I think this is cool. The hole he gets through, like that's a slim hole.
Oh, it is a slim hole, but look at this.
And if he doesn't, 29 totally gets him. 29's waiting for that play. He's waiting.
Cameron Hughes, you watching? We have a rule that if your kickoff return guy's about to go by you, you do not touch the guy you're supposed to block. I think we have a block in the back that was definitely missed here. I mean, geez, Louise, watch this at regular speed. The regular speed, you'll see it coming right, boom, block in the back.
Right to the ground, right in the pile.
And then you said it right here, just a turnaround moment.
Yeah.
Second time in the game. But, he actually did his job. I mean, because you tell a kicker, hey, whatever direction that guy's going, get him to go the other direction. Because he helps, because if he goes this way, he's definitely gone. So he returns it back here. This is what I love, man. Like, look at these guys. They're not wearing 20s, 30s, and 40 numbers, right?
No,
I mean,
they're up there.
64.
Look at 34. 34's fast. That's got to be a defensive back.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's good
and
stuff.
He's pointing at him to go outside, and boom, touchdown.
Yeah, so there it is. All right, so let's keep moving. This will be the kind of this last one of this last section here. This is Rams and Seahawks, the infamous fake in the air. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And all these, I'm not going to get into the names of these, but every one of these actually have names. The name of this one, and it's based on the two players that are involved is where they went to college is what they coined it. So you actually hear it nowadays. But what's crazy is the fact. I mean, I remember watching this. And it was one of the very few times that even I was thrown off, like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. What did they just do there? Like, what am I missing? And all of a sudden that guy is returning. I mean, the cameraman's fooled, everybody's fooled, but how was our entire team fooled? Because when you punt the ball, your punter is yelling. I mean, he's yelling at the top of his lungs, or he should be. Left, right, middle. He's telling the guys where the ball is punted. And this ball, I mean, you could see where this is the guy who's catching the ball. Like, he's the guy who's catching the ball. But the other guy over here basically pretended like he caught it and fell down. And look at all of our dudes. Like, remember,
they're all convinced.
Yeah, they're convinced, and they've lost their umbrella effect.
Yeah.
The umbrella effect being have your 5-yard spacing, settle your feet, make the play. Yeah, man, it's unreal.
And by
It's just
then he
done.
is gone.
So, what did I say about it being a copycat league? Well, a couple years later, here's the sky angle. Yeah, the sky angle, you can see it just a little bit better. I mean, there it is. I mean, he got all the way over here to the sideline, fell down. We got all of our dudes over here, and there he goes. Pretty crazy.
Here's the
So,
copycat league.
yep. What happens here, Nick?
All right, so here we're playing the Bears. I think this is around 2015, maybe
And we said
14.
any one of these dudes or dudettes up here could come down and tackle the Bears.
Yeah,
Starting from this
right.
point forward, right? Like if anybody up here can play, especially down here, like I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
the people in this suite, friends of mine. Nope, that's actually this is my bad.
Oh.
My wife and I go on every once in a couple times a year. We get to go hang out with them, and there are times where it's like, man, you could run out there on the field. There's some loons down here in this bottom first row. Like,
Oh, yeah.
some weirdos, good weirdos, but there's some weird 12s, man. That they might jump out there and do some crazy stuff. And
Yeah.
it's not like these guys are going to stop them.
Even Blitz, too. Blitz could totally run out there and
Oh,
tackle
Blitz,
them.
yeah. I mean, let's get some
Oh, yeah.
crazy dude in the Blitz uniform. So you can see Tyler Lockett.
Right.
Which,
He's tracking the ball.
by the way, before we even go to that, Nick and I have talked, if you're watching this, Nick and I have talked many, many times about we need to, like, especially now, we've got to win games. So when we look at our best athletes, forget what DK Metcalf is doing, whether it's to Shannon Sharp or is he's fumbling the ball or whatever, we would all agree that he is an athlete, right? I mean, just a specimen of an athlete.
For sure.
Can we please put him on kickoff return, right? If we got Tyler Lockett, we got to have our best 11. There comes a point, even in the NFL, I think, like we have got to win games. And with Russ out and Carson out and others, our other guys got to step up. And there were times for us, there's times you definitely see it in college, right? And I get the NFL's different. They're getting paid. But man, like where's the day where you would put your best athletes? And this is the point. Like, this is why I'm glad you chose this one as well. Because big game, we got to have it. And yes, copycat. But we not only have a young Tyler Lockett out there. In fact, I think this might have been his rookie year. But we're putting Richard Sherman, our all Hall of Fame corner, out there to run this fake return for us. We didn't put just some random person out there. We put Richard Sherman out there. So that you'd think the Bears would have seen that and go, oh, let's pay attention to a guy who's playing corner. And I know that there were times where he played up there in the squat position to take the flyer. But man, oh man, like let's start putting our better athletes out there.
Yeah.
When the thing's on the line. So, and
speaking on that too, before you get into the play,
yeah.
DK has done some in training camp. When you go there, usually it's him getting slants from Russell Wilson the entire time. But he's done some kickoff returns. They kind of have a circle of guys that do it. And, he's huge. He can run some guys over. So, yeah, definitely throw your best athletes back there, especially when it matters. Like, if it's a kickoff return and you're down by 3 or whatever, there's like 40 seconds left. You should have your best guy out there. Tyler Lockett should be returning those kicks because I believe anyone on the team, he's the guy that's most likely going to take it back.
Yeah.
And he has before.
Yeah. And I think, Lockett's one of the best. I think he's arguably one of the better ones we've ever had. But then, he's got dinged up a little bit and he's, making 100 catches a year. Yeah. And his body's going to take a little bit of toll as well. I think when you get, like a DK and stuff, it's one thing to do it in practice. I mean, it's always funny when guys score in practice when it's just tag tempo, because you got tag tempo, thud tempo, and full go tempo, right? So tag is where you just tap them. Thud is where you kind of show that you get in front of the guy and show him that you could have made the play. And then full go is where you're taking them down. I would like to see DK get out there and just get a return in, maybe in a non-meaningful situation. So that way he does get a chance to get hit, because everybody talks about, well, he should play defense. He's not a defensive-minded guy. It's one thing to chase the guy down like a Buda Baker and make a tackle. It's a different thing to take guys square on. I get that he tried to run the guy over, but that's different. That's different than going tackling.
Well, Coach, before we do that, gotta hold on to the football. Gotta work on that, because we can't have him out there and then some like little 5'9" gunner coming in and
the gunner
ramming the ball out.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's check this out. Here we go on this one. So you get the return there, and again, look at the Bears and look at right down here. I can actually let me get the name over there. That'll help us a little bit. There we go. So you can see right down here at the bottom is Richard Sherman. There's Tyler Lockett doing a great job, but kind of funny because we'd just seen this 2 years earlier
Oh, yeah.
against us.
Bam, falls on his back, and then there goes Richard Sherman. Now, here they had enough guys, like, already kind of back there to where they could get him. Props to 57. He totally chased him down. And then the punter, too, who kind of contained him, didn't make the play.
Yes. Yeah.
He
you're
forced him
absolutely right.
inside to the linebacker.
Yep. Job of the punter is just to slow him down. He's not supposed to make the
Yeah.
tackle, but he slowed him down enough. You know, and I'm not, people love to get in, well, Richard Sherman's not very fast. You know, he's NFL fast. If you're
right.
NFL fast, you can score, but when you have to also,
sure.
it's all about angles, right? We talk
It
about
is.
football is two things. It's angles and it's heart. So
Yeah.
sometimes angles get you. And, 16 does a good job of making it turn. But again, I go back to that concept of, okay, we just put Richard Sherman out there. I would think that the Bears would have saw, hey, got one of the better players out there, and yet they're all running to it. And the punter obviously didn't yell left, 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 left. I mean, for nobody to recognize that. And what you're taught, Nick, and I know you know tons of things about special teams. So some of this stuff I'm just not necessarily saying to you, I'm saying to others. You're always taught after your first 10 yards to take one peek up to find the ball. You just take a quick glance up. So you hear the thud of the ball, you take off. And at 10 yards, you just take one peek up to see if you can find it real quick in case it's shanked, right? So you can get there, down it, find it, whatever. Because, a lot of times you see those punt returners wave their hand to fake the fair catch. This is the same type of deal. You should know that ball is just like a guy that's faking a fair catch.
Right.
You should be able to find that. But it's just the football IQ is just going down a little bit, maybe because too much Madden. Guys don't they focus on this other stuff.
Yeah,
right
there.
So before I show one final thing here, which is going to be not the Dallas Cowboys. This actually comes from a high school game. It's one of the coolest things I saw. But before we go to that, we're going to take just a 60-second break, and then we will be right back with more of Special Teams for Life with Nick LaBow and Coach Marsh. All right, well, welcome back with Nick LaBow, and I'm Coach Marsh. Man, first, Nick, anything else going on in your world outside of football? We jumped right into things tonight.
Oh, well, no, it's been pretty chill, getting into school and stuff. We're now about a month in. So yeah, it's going good.
Yeah, which means you're only 8 months away from summer vacation.
That's true.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes around here. Man, lots of people in on the comment board I see. So we will get to comments and questions. I've tried to check them as we've been going. So, but check who came to the party.
Oh, wow.
At the party tonight, it's Mr. Bob Hickey. For those
honor.
of you who don't know, yeah, absolutely. Mr. Hickey, we will definitely be connecting, man. I know we've been trying to going back and forth. Bob Hickey, one of the greatest people of all time. If I was going to rank my USA Today top 10, Bob might be unanimous, get all the unanimous selections of number one. One of the greatest archery, I don't know if you call it archery players, archery athletes, definitely one of the greatest archery athletes of all time. But man, oh man, the guy is just special. Big Seahawks fan, like big time 12, and has definitely supported us. So I'm hoping to get him as a guest on the show because I know he played football back in the day, middle linebacker. He's a local product.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a world renowned, no lie, world renowned, as you know, in the archery world. So glad to have you with us, Bob, man. So great to hear from you. I get choked up talking to you, man. Thinking about you. So before we go to other comments, I wanted to show one more thing here. Let me get to the spot. All right. So this was in a high school football game. Cameron Hughes, pay close attention. I think you'll appreciate this. I love when I see kickoff returns that have some sort of design to them. When we ran our kickoff returns, again, not to say too much about our stuff, but for 3 years, we had the #1 kickoff return in the state with most touchdown returns, all classifications. And we were really proud of that because we really worked hard to get, we didn't have the biggest dudes, but everybody had an assignment and everybody had to get to it. And one thing I will share, Nick, I think you'll appreciate is what's the very first play in a football game? Like the very first play in football, kickoff. So to me, those were the starters.
Yeah.
The starters are your kickoff and kickoff return team. I would love to go to a Seahawks game and our kickoff return team is the group that gets introduced, or the kickoff team is introduced. Like, introduce those dudes.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been saying
Nick
for a long
you tell me
time.
Nick Lore does not deserve to have his name introduced?
Oh, of course he does. And even the
Right?
punters and kickers. I haven't heard the punters and kickers ever introduced.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's like, they'll introduce Pete Carroll at the end and his coaching staff. Throw out the punter. Throw out the kicker, especially with how elite our punters and kickers are. They deserve some recognition.
Absolutely. That's a great call. And like I said, because most teams, I mean, at every level, look at them as an offense or defensive group. Hey, if you're introducing the defense, then introduce the punter.
Yeah.
Right. If you're introducing the offense, introduce your, it's kicker would be more defense, but field goal, PAT, kicker, the same person. But yeah, I think that's a great thing to do. But so I always try to introduce, especially when we go to our opponent's field, announcer would come to me and say, hey, I need your starters, and he'd hand me the roster and they'd ask me to, just kind of jot down or put a little dot next to them. And then when he'd see me, he's like, well, these aren't your starters. I know who your starters are. I'm like, yeah, that's my starting kickoff and kickoff return team based on the coin toss. Please introduce them. And the look on their faces was just funny because I was like, man, why aren't we thinking of that? Because I'd say, hey, that is the first play. Like, that is the first play. So the fact that we introduced the offense and the defense, like, why do we do that? Those are not the real starters, right?
For sure. And it's such a tone setter too. If you come out, win the coin toss, say you want to receive, and immediately, especially if you're at a home game, your kick returner returns at 100 yards and a touchdown. I mean, just the tone and momentum you have going forward with your team for the rest of the game, it no doubt adds an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage. So I just thought that was I always try to share those little nuggets because I think it's fun to, I always try to be different. I think it's fun to just I always pride myself in being motivating and innovating. If I can be those two things, and then I'm going to hire assistants that are smarter than me. So that was kind of my key to trying to find success, was find assistants that are smarter than me at everything else. I'll be the motivator. I'll be the innovator. And then I'll take over when there's 2 minutes to go on the clock, especially if we face the Dallas Cowboys. Like,
oh yeah,
I'll take on their coaching staff when it comes to time management. Although their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, a Prosser product from Prosser High School, arguably the greatest quarterback I ever watched play at high school level.
Yeah. Wow.
He's going to be an NFL head coach really soon. And
for sure.
That guy, he was 50-4 in college at Boise State. His 4 losses, all of them were by 2 points or less.
Wow.
I mean, he's close to being 54-0 as a college starter for 4 years. I don't care where you're playing. It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's done charge of time management down there. Go ahead, Nick.
Definitely a very good coordinator. I think he was also rumored to get the UW coaching job when they had openings, but
I was really hoping he'd come here, but they obviously wanted to keep him. So he's doing a phenomenal job this year. So time management. I love time management. So let me show this kickoff return that I think is pretty cool. Basically, it's just the what they do in the back part of it. So there we go on this. I'll just let you watch it first of all. So ball gets kicked deep to the deep man. They obviously said anybody who gets it back here, we're doing the same thing. Boom, boom, boom. At this point, the cameraman.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was lost on who had the ball.
Yeah, the cameraman did a great job. Check this out, the high school football game. They got the sky cam there. That's Texas football for you. Hey, you know what else tells you it's Texas football?
It's packed.
This obviously does.
Right.
This is the Dallas Cowboys practice facility,
Yeah.
This isn't even this isn't even Texas Stadium, or whatever they call it now. This is the Dallas Cowboys practice facility, is where they play their high school, football games, the big the championship games or the bigger games they're playing in the early season. So again, there's the kickoff. One guy gets it. Obviously the goal is get it to the first up back.
Right.
who in most teams, basically these guys have L's and R's, so they're usually taking care of the L's and R's up here. So he might be like L4 to L5 and R5, R4, R3, meaning take care of these interior guys. And then these are kind of got to use the R1s and R2s. So usually you oftentimes this guy's your captain and this guy's your captain. So they've obviously said of this front five, they're doing a 5-3-3. They said, hey, if they kick it deep, whoever gets it back there, hand it to 14 and then do the 3-man weave. And there it is. Handoff, handoff, handoff.
Bam.
I mean, that's awesome spacing, man.
Totally.
Like, that is awesome.
I mean, and the thing is, that's great too, is the way their blockers were set up. Any single one of these, if they got the ball, there's a very good chance they would have been gone.
Yeah.
Like that up man had a nice hole. That guy at the left area kind of had a nice hole. And then, of course, the guy who got the football.
Yeah. And then obviously what they do is up top with the top few guys is they say let some of these guys go because they know that the left half's going to chase over here.
Yeah.
And so let's set a couple guys to our wall so we can get around the wall. So that's why you can see a couple guys are already set there where the plays, they know that he's actually handed the ball there. So it's predetermined. It's not like, hey, 14, you can hand it to whoever you want. They've already predetermined. Hey, if 15 gets it, he's just going to fake the handoff. But if we call it for number 7 or we call it for whoever this number is, so they obviously said since this guy's getting it, 7 is actually on the far right of the kickoff return. If we're looking at the kickoff team, so he's way down over here. He's going to go here. The middle guy comes and they come across. There it is. There, see, 7 came across, and then he's the guy that was the deep middle. I mean, that's just a great. I love looking for this type of stuff because if I get back into coaching, man, I'm looking for these things.
And look at that block too. That was an awesome block.
And this, Nick, is why we're doing this show. This is why we're doing this show, because to have an appreciation, most people see the kickoff return. And, if you saw this live, first off, like you said, most people are like, who got the ball? And then once they figured it out, everybody's just watching the kickoff return guy. Right. So, okay, first I'm kind of confused. Okay, I figured it out. 7's got the ball. So now let's all watch number 7. But man, now Grant, that block.
Now this front guy gets the kicker, 15. And Cameron Hughes just put in a comment, which is totally correct. I mean, these guys have definitely been practicing this a lot because if one guy messes up on their job, I'm not sure if it goes the entire length.
No,
so it's definitely a play where every single person needs to do their job correctly. So, and they definitely, no doubt, practice that a lot.
Yeah, and that's why, and I know I'm actually starting to get some players that are catching these videos after the fact. That's why I loved what we did. So I had our special teams coach, Adam Keatser. He had played on the WSU, the Washington State team that went to the Rose Bowl back in, 2000 something. I can't remember the year. Back when I know Ryan Leaf wasn't the greatest NFL player, but he's redeemed himself in a lot of ways. But he played on that team. So when he came to me, he had this, and I loved special teams. So I was always running it, and I had a designed kickoff return, but he had the special kickoff return as well. So we started running it, and it was definitely, it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen because every single player had one guy to block. And it was exactly what that was. It was a do your job thing because it wasn't double wedge. It wasn't hope you get somebody. It was if we knew exactly who made the tackle, who missed the block, because we knew that was L5 that tackled it. That was R4 that tackled it. So we could pick up who that guy was. And man, when they did their job, and so that game that we ran the fake spike to score on, the team that was facing us, they kicked off to us and they kicked it straight out of bounds because we had the number 1 kick returner in the state, who's now the recruiting coordinator at the University of Washington. Yeah. So he's back there. They kick it out of bounds, thinking that we're going to go up. Well, our players knew that anytime a team kicked it out of bounds, you just move up 5 yards. Don't come running off. Their kickoff team they just run to the sideline, assuming we're going to take the ball. Well, in a game where we were down 12-7, could hardly move the ball that night, we knew kickoff return was our best chance to win. They kicked it out of bounds 3 times. Wow. So they ended up kicking off from their own 25-yard line. And then our guy, they had to kick it to us. Instead of squib kicking it, they kick it deep. Our guy gets it. And everybody did their job. And the kicker just made a nice play and tackled us at the 18-yard line. And then that's when I ran the play with no timeouts. Got yelled at by every fan. Heard the fans yelling at me. But Cameron, you nailed it, man. Everybody's got to do their block. Like Bob Hickey said, like that block was huge. Yeah, absolutely. So that's when it's fun, man. That special teams is just so cool. It's so cool.
It is.
So here's definitely the last one, and then we'll wrap things up. I know it's been a longer show, and I know we'll definitely have time to talk about Seahawks and get to those things. But I think with all that's going on, I think we see the issues. Monday Night Football game coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have my show going tomorrow as well. So lots of good stuff. But this last one, this goes to what you were talking about earlier, and this is why I pulled it up. I didn't know that you'd necessarily say what you were going to say, but it's totally perfect for it. And that's the idea of where is the fun stuff when we need it, or the extra stuff when we need it, or finding the points. So this is swing the gate, as they call it. Every team has not every team. Some coaches don't believe in this. That part of the issue, Nick, and for others, Cameron and those guys who are playing, is some coaches just don't believe in trick plays. Like I know a high school coach, he's the winningest coach in the state of Washington, the winningest high school coach. I wouldn't say he doesn't believe in trick play, but he doesn't, first off, he doesn't really need to run them, but he's never run them. And a lot of coaches just don't feel like that's proper etiquette, right? Like, yeah, I'm not going to run a trick play. I want to win with just regular football. Well, to me, the goal is to score. It's to take the leather football and get it to the end zone.
Definitely.
BAMN, by any means necessary. BAMN. Or as my defensive coach would say, TWGF or TGWF, tackle guy with football. That was a little cardboard he used to take with him. But by any means necessary, get the football in. So I love when I look at an NFL game or college game or anything else, and I see this type of stuff, right? So this swing the gate, 2-point conversion, most teams don't prepare for it. A lot of teams don't run it. And this game, when they ran it, this is just a random out of nowhere. It wasn't like late in the fourth quarter had to have it. It wasn't, hey, let's check our chart and we're down by 8 and the chart says go for 2. It was early in the game, catch them off guard. I mean, here's you got big dude down here. All you got to have is 7 on the line of scrimmage, and you got to have 4 in the backfield. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the backfield. What a lot of teams do is they'll actually take everybody and put them over here, which makes the guy who snaps it ineligible. He makes him ineligible. A-N, not ineligible, but A-N, space eligible. So let's watch and see what happens here on this play. 2-point conversion. Now you can see the Eagles are all up on the line of scrimmage.
Bam, he runs it, flips it in. Oh my God.
I mean, is that just awesome or what?
I think the best part of this play is this is not like a quarterback or whatever. This is the punter to the kicker.
Yes. Bingo, Nick. That's exactly what I was going to say next. It's look at the personnel, right? I mean, you got big dudes out here. You know, they're not. I mean, look
this isn't your offense.
94's dropping back down here like he's getting the ball. No, this is like, hey guys, we're gonna have some. Not only just have some fun, but we're gonna catch them off guard. Because I'll guarantee you, Philadelphia was not prepared for this. You know why?
No,
because you would never, ever, ever line up everybody like this. So this tells me an NFL team never once said, hey, we might face a swing the gate, a very common thing in football, very common 2-point. Because typically your rules are you play it the way you would a normal thing. So you put your defensive lineman match to where the offensive linemen go. Linebackers should match to where running back. So you'd have like a linebacker over here, a linebacker over here. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Also, you would never, in my opinion, I think, never like not drop at least one guy in coverage. Like
Bingo.
On this play, every single one of them were rushing the runner, and they totally ignored the kicker who slid through like where most of Philadelphia's personnel were up at the top of the screen for the
typically you
touchdown.
You'd put a couple of defensive guys there. You put a defensive guy. You put 2 defensive guys there and a third guy back here because they have 4. You're going to put 3 guys over here. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to put number 9 back here, number 10 back there, and then you're going to because they have such a wide here, you're going to split the difference. So this guy right here might be over, but you're going to play it like a real defense. Where you're going to play linebackers and secondary and everybody else. You're not going to put everybody up here on the line with nobody having run responsibility and. You still have the same responsibilities right now. It's like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? And then, it's a punter and a kicker. All you do is say, who are the eligible guys? Well, you know who's eligible based on their alignment. It's just like this is the center. He can't go out because he's covered up.
Yeah.
Eligible guy, eligible guy, eligible guy, eligible guy. There's only so many. And then this guy, end guy on the line of scrimmage. This right here is, come on. Brutal. That is brutal.
Oh yeah. This guy who he even had the choice. He had the choice to go back and cover him, but he went and rushed the runner.
Yeah, because they didn't know. Like, they don't know what the
Yeah,
responsibilities are. And then look at the
clearly did
celebration, man.
not
That's
practice.
awesome, man. I just love that type of stuff.
For sure. Especially in big game situations like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I think you nailed it, Nick, right? It's like, what, when do we do the things that we do, and why do we do the things that we do, or why do we not do them? And now we're in a situation where, man, we got to win some football games. We've got to win some football games, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's where you hope that guys are innovative, And I'm a Pete Carroll fan, and I know a lot of people just want him gone. I'm one that says, hey, I like that we've gone to the playoffs a lot. I like that we're the second winners. I get that people get frustrated and they think that I passed his time and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I would argue much differently than that. I think there's some other things that go on and such. I think there can be some certain changes, but
Yeah. Some retooling.
But what you do have to realize is when you don't have the stud athletes, like I know what it's like to have years where you have all the great athletes, and he's had a lot of great athletes throughout the years. He's had the Legion of Boom. He had Rust at his prime. He had these other things. But then when you start to lose that, you have to reflect and go, man, I do have to make some changes. And for some coaches, like for me, those changes were hard offensively. Like, I didn't want to change out of my offensive style, but I knew special teams, I could change there. And that's when I went and found the best special teams coach I could find. And man, he changed things big time for us. I mean, easily 3 games a year we won because of that.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Bob. It's Thursday, 7 p.m. And tomorrow I have a little surprise of some of the stuff we'll be talking about. So I'll have my thumbnail out tomorrow morning. You'll see it'll be a fun show tomorrow. So you'll definitely want to check on that as well. So lots of good stuff. So Nick, what do you say on wrapping up the show here in terms of, while you're talking for a second, I'm going to check a couple of the comments, but just your overall take, not only on what's gone on, but moving forward with another primetime game. We're struggling with home games. What's your take? Where are we going with things here moving forward? The old Seattle Seahawks.
Well, I think that right now we're in the best situation we can be. Not in the sense of that Russell Wilson's out, but kind of in the sense of we're finally truly the underdog. In the Pittsburgh game, the majority of the panel, they have their panel that chooses and stuff.
Yeah.
The majority said Pittsburgh, but it was slight, and I think they had like a poll that said Seattle. I think after last week's loss, everyone's kind of going to be riding the ship on us. Oh, they're done for the season. Gino's not the real deal. Because I think last week there was also an over kind of hyping of Gino. So I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, they're done for. They're not going to win. Saints have a powerful offense. But I think that we have a chance to win. We're finally the underdogs, and we're at our best when we're the underdogs, because that's when we come in, we surprise everyone. And I think what we got to do, we have to force Jameis to throw. We got to pressure him because he's an interception machine.
Yeah, she no doubt about it. But my mom has started rooting for the Saints, but she chose the Saints at the beginning of the year to win the Super Bowl. So this might be the one game ever that I don't say she's rooting against the Seahawks, but she's like, yeah, Jameis is going to do well this year. And I was like, I don't think so. But he's definitely not doing as bad as he did before. So, but man, to be playing where we are, and crowds, got to get rolling on that type of stuff. I do want to pull up the one thing that you had from earlier, Nick, because you did take the time to do it, and I think it was important to show it, and I bypassed on my bad. And this is the score of the game when Leon Washington had those 2 returns for a touchdown.
Won us the game.
Yeah, and so I think it's important to show there that, we talked about the reason we did this show is because there's going to be 3 games this year where we are going to win or lose because of special teams. And so here's a game back then, where we had to win it to keep the playoff hopes alive, and those 2 kickoff returns, that was the difference in the ball game. So I think we're both hoping that we can see a little bit more of that. So, man, I just appreciate everybody coming on. I saw, Cameron and Donnie and Elena and Bob and some other people that came on earlier. So I'm just really thankful for everybody who joined us on the show.
Definitely.
I know Nick's excited. I know other people are interested in special teams. They're starting to hear that, there's a little show out there that, they're talking some pretty cool stuff. And so before I leave, I wanted to show you the new graphic that I'll start bringing in next week. So I got to thank a buddy of mine for making that for me. I told him I'd launch it out there today, kind of Seahawks helmet, and I'm working on a little, my own little music video that'll come out. A little different than what our buddy does, but it'll be fun. So Man, Nick, as always, you did a fantastic job. Love doing this show with you.
You too. Thank you.
This was a fun one. I think it was good that
It
we kind of
was.
found a way to laugh in the doldrums of what we
Right.
were going. But man, we're only 2-4. You know,
Yeah.
winning cures all. Winning cures
That's
all.
true. That's
And
true.
we win these next couple of games, and I think it helps that you know, I'm a Geno believer. I think Geno is
So
the
am
best thing for the West Coast offense for what he's doing. And
I
if you
agree.
join me tomorrow, you're going to see exactly why I think the West Coast offense. Not that he's better than Russ, but why I think we can become very efficient and be efficient enough to keep this thing going well enough for when Russ gets back, us make a, you know, we can make a good push to get into that playoff run. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us, everybody for coming with everything. With Nick LaBow, this is Coach Marsh with Coach for Life. And with that, always remember to live your life one play at a time.